Thank you, Presiding Officer. I want to get a couple of things out of the way just before I start. Firstly, can I reassure Jackson Carlo that nobody had to bully me to take part in the debate this afternoon? You can check with my whips, I was well up for it. Secondly, I know that many committees have done excellent work in this Parliament, and I hope that their members, their conveners and anybody who gave evidence will understand that any criticisms I make of the structures are absolutely no criticism of the work that they have done, and I think actually it makes any successes that much more impressive. Now, I've sat on 4 committees, subbed to and appeared in 2 others as a minister. So I know that they are busy, often overloaded, and the inquiries that are carried out often give much needed air to issues that really matter to constituents, are very important and very worthy of time, but maybe aren't quite as flashy when it comes to discussing them in the chamber, maybe much like this debate. But they do not have enough power, and I'm afraid they don't also have enough respect. My experience has taught me that the convener and their approach makes a huge difference to the effectiveness of a committee and the experience of both members and witnesses. A convener that doesn't allow members to pursue non-spiced lines of questioning or overloads panels or doesn't show an interest in detail or approaching difficult subjects can create a very dispiriting environment. A convener that creates a culture of interest, curiosity and participation or brings bacon rolls to meetings can really make a difference. Respect towards committees and the issues that they raise from government and media is also incredibly important, and I do wish I could think of an effective way to prevent party whipping in committees. One particular example of good work is what was undertaken in the Social Justice and Social Security Committee under the convenership of Elena Whittam. At the end of an inquiry, we published the report Robbing Peter to Pay Paul, Low Income and the Debt Trap. And it was hailed by third sector campaigners, by those we took evidence from and by MSPs across parties. And it really felt like we'd achieved something, along with the support of Clarks and Spice in pulling together everything that we've considered into recommendations. And the response from government was just a huge disappointment to me as a fairly new MSP. One witness in this inquiry pointed out that it is hard to measure effectiveness. There's no committee impact factor KPI yet. So is it how many amendments the committee makes to a bill or how many reports it publishes? And what about recommendations that are initially ignored by government but then make it into the next budget or manifesto drawing up without any credit given to the committee with its report already forgotten? And that's an interesting question and one that can only really be answered if we do more post-legislative scrutiny and follow-up work. Now, I know from my own experience that committees often don't feel they have enough time to do these things, but it is critical if we want to be more effective. The convener earlier mentioned time that committees have, and I do think we need to ask ourselves some serious questions about whether the value that we place on committees is reflected in the parliamentary timetable. From giving over some afternoons of chamber business to separate bill committees, there are a lot of solutions out there, but they do always seem to lead to what's a very difficult question for MSPs, including ones like me who sit on 3 committees. Even with smaller committees, are there enough of us to meaningfully improve scrutiny? Now, I've got a lot of sympathy for the issues raised in terms of remuneration. I believe that's critical to strengthening the whole system. I've worked under many excellent conveners and I've seen the work that they are expected to do. It is a whole other job on top of being a backbencher, much like being a deputy presiding officer or a junior minister. And if we want MSPs, particularly those who are in one of the parties of government, to take their convenership seriously in its own right and not just see it as a stepping stone, then it must be remunerated in a way that recognises and encourages the level of work that's needed. Now, committees should and can be incredibly effective. Issues should be spotted and fixed in committees, not in the press or with another bill next session. And ministers should be terrified to appear in front of us. So I hope that this inquiry results in some change in structure to facilitate that. Thank you.